Okay, that's unanimous. Moved on to item number 11.
Stage 3 drought update.
Okay.
Oh, why are you all leaving the room? We want you to come into the room.
Those are all police.
Oh, there we go. We got here faster than you thought. That's all right. Take your time whenever you're ready, Mr. Hagmark.
Madam Mayor, council members, my name is Joshua Hagmark. I'm the Water Resources Manager, here today to provide another monthly drought update. This one's a little unique from some of the past updates in that I'm hoping to answer any of the council's questions about the need for desal. That is the next item on the agenda today. And kind of the purpose of today was to answer the water supply need. Is it? What is it? Is there any options? And so anywhere in this presentation, have any questions, I hope to answer those now. And then during the desal presentation, we'll go over the contract and more procedural manners of that. So we'll be talking about rainfall and surface water supply totals, water supply outlook and community conservation, state and supplemental water, drought response capital projects, and water conservation program. We did get a little shot of rain recently. Last Tuesday, we got almost 3/4 of an inch here in town and almost an inch up at Gibraltar. Certainly promising and hopeful, but certainly nothing that's going to change our outlook. We still remain way below normal. And with the rain totals here, we're averaging just over 45% of normal rainfall after several years of that. Gibraltar Reservoir is at 12% of capacity. Has about 600 acre-feet of water in it. Lake Cachuma now at 26% of capacity, 51,000 acre-feet. So I wanted just to take a little time to compare this current drought to some of the past droughts. And we'll start off by looking at an average 4-year period where we may receive about 106 inches of rain. The drought that most people can recall, the 1987 to 1990 drought, during that 4-year period, we received just over 63 inches of rain. The 1948 to 1951, which is our basis of drought planning, was 55 inches of rain. And then here we are, 2012 to 2015 for just almost 45 inches. Incredible how dry this drought has been in comparison to some of those historical droughts. And I think really sets the stage for the situation we're in. And it's really impressive how well we've done so far at managing our supplies despite this devastating drought. So the Drought Intensity Monitor, they continue to publish this, continues to show California in amidst, obviously, one of the worst droughts record. And I think what's important here to notice is as we talk about the ability to purchase water, the areas impacted are primarily where we'd be able to buy some of those water in Northern California, and why we believe it's, at this point, not wise planning to think that we're going to be able to buy water next year if things continue. We saw this year the water market basically fall apart, and we were very fortunate to have secured water south of the Delta, so we weren't impacted by that, but any water purchase north of the Delta just dissolved this year because of the lack of rainfall and particularly lack of snowmelt. So I've upgraded this water conservation graph, and one of the things that we've changed is we've kind of put our planned water usage. That's what we would normally use because we've been using that for a long time, but taking more front stage is the calendar year 2013 actual. That is the basis the state is now evaluating all communities throughout California on their ability to meet the conservation goals. And so for the month of May, City of Santa Barbara racked up 37% conservation in May, attributable, I think, to a lot of the May gray returning, which is, if you're not going to get rainfall, that's the next best thing. Helps reduce evaporative losses and certainly takes the toll off the plants, which we saw obviously in 2013 and 2014 was very warm in May. But where this puts us, it now puts us at 24% on average going back to July. And so basically we're right on target with the City Council's objective of a 25% conservation goal for the community, which I think is right where we want to be. So I'm going to take a little time to go through our water supply strategy. I'm going to zoom in here, but we are in year 4, 2015. And when we look at that, with our conservation goal of 25% going out, that is going to be a critical part of helping us to meet our demands going forward. We have been actively pursuing water purchases this year and feel comfortable that we have secured the water needed to get us through next year. That was an important part of this year, and we purchased about 4,500 acre feet this year, and feel comfortable that we'll be importing that over the coming months. That water sitting in San Luis Reservoir. We did get some state water allocation this year, a little 600 acre feet. We'll take anything we can get, but we don't anticipate seeing anything going forward if conditions continue. Groundwater is the one source on this side of the mountains that we really have control over. It's going to play a vital role going through this drought, but it is a limited resource. Limited in the sense that we can only pull it out at a certain pace, and limited in the sense that there's only a certain amount of it in the ground. And so as we look out, you'll notice that we're going to be peaking our use in year 6, but after year 6, we expect our groundwater supplies to start to dwindle, and we'll be able to recover less and less. Gibraltar Mission Tunnel, what we are noticing here, particularly starting with year 5, is that's basically just Mission Tunnel flows. We won't be getting any additional water coming from Gibraltar itself, so we're anticipating, though, we will continue to get some inflow into Mission Tunnel. It's basically like a horizontal well. Cachuma carryover, this is critical. This is where the conservation has been kicking in and allows us to carry forward water basically that we're saving in Cachuma, and it will help us to meet needs as we go forward. It's absolutely critical, and particularly when we move on to the next one, which is our Cachuma allocation. This is the last year we anticipate having an entitlement to any water in Cachuma. That is something that has never happened in the history of the Cachuma project, and certainly I think a game changer going forward as to how Cachuma is managed. And that's part of the long term. Many are saying that Cachuma is over allocated. Basically, with the fish releases and demands on the lake, it's not lasting as long as it should be, and this is one of the great indicators of that. So starting October 1st, there will be no new water coming from Cachuma, and all we'll be carrying forward is the water that we save through conservation. And then, of course, the recycled water, which is going to play a critical role next year in helping to curb some of the landscape use. And that takes us to Desal. Currently shown in this water supply graphic is a supply of 3125 a year, 3,000 acre, just over 3,000 acre feet a year, and is going to be very critical in helping us to meet our water supply demand needs. Oops. Even with the Desal Project operating, and with 25% conservation, we still have a projected shortage. Now, we do have options still at this point to address that shortage, whether it's through moratorium, whether it's through increased moratorium on watering of lawns, increased conservation, rain. Maybe we get some runoff into some of our reservoirs for once. There is some options at this point, so we recognize that, but I think we have a lot of tools in our toolbox to close that gap of 1,400 acre feet. But I think the point what I want to make here is combined, though, what we're looking at is a 60% shortage in our water supply if we are unable to have desal under these conditions. And that's a really significant cut for this community. I think it would be pretty devastating to the way of life we have here. State and supplemental water, just confirming we did get our state allocation, 20%, which is about 600 acre feet, and we did secure our supplemental water purchase goal of 4,500 acre feet for this next year. I included this graphic. There's a lot of information on here, and the point I want to make is that despite there being 51,000 acre-feet of water left in the lake, there is not a whole lot of water left for what we consider project use or South Coast use. This is the water right here. This is pretty much what's remaining in the lake. All the rest of this is accounting for evaporation for this year. It's accounting for fish releases, accounting for downstream users holding water in the lake, and of course what we consider the dead pool, the remaining water that's going to be very difficult to retrieve. And so just want to kind of account for all the water that's in there. And we're watching this closely and keeping track of it and reporting on it, so hopefully no surprises going forward. The emergency pump project, as you might remember, went into play in September, and it has been in standby because the downstream users have not done their annual release. We expect we won't need to turn this facility on until July. That's when they'll be doing their large release, which will drop the lake below the lowest intake gates. As part of this emergency pump project, they did actually excavate a lot of silt down by the lower gate, and that's what's actually allowed them at this point to continue to divert water without pumping. That's been kind of critical. Fish water releases continue. However, the Bureau is still working actively with NIMS to try and work out some accounting of how to maintain that habitat, but also preserve the remaining water in the lake. We continue to follow that one closely. Recycled water, groundwater, and desalination. Valverde Well continues to play a strong part in putting non-potable water into the recycled water system. However, as I reported, I believe last time, we have ran into some issues with the recycled water facility. There is an item coming to council on the 23rd that will get into great detail, but basically there is a design issue that is going to delay the project into the fall. And they're working on the steps and impacts from that, but it's related to a design issue, not the contractor at this point. And so when we structured that contract, we put a lot of weight and penalties on the contractor if he dropped the ball, and unfortunately this appears to be a design-related issue. A high school well bids were received for the piping, and I believe it will be coming to council shortly. We're anticipating that well being online this winter. And Alameda well continues to move forward on schedule, and we should see some production from that well in September. So at this time, I kind of wanted to come around to the Desal Project again and talk about the supply projections. Walked through our water supply outlook. I want to touch a little bit on the El Nino prediction. You've probably heard a lot of discussion. I think we all heard a lot of discussion last year about a strong El Nino. Kind of wanted to put it into context. There have been 6 strong El Nino events in our recorded history here in Santa Barbara that the county has. And of those 6, 3 of them have been above average rainfall. So that's an upside. There's been 1 that was moderate and 2 that were below during a strong El Nino prediction. So where does that leave you? It leaves you with basically it's still an unknown. There's still a significant unknown even when a strong El Nino is predicted. And I think what we've seen over the last few years that makes it really challenging is that strong high pressure that's been sitting off the coast, just batting the storms around us. It's not a lack of storms, it's a lack of them getting through and getting to California. And then to finally touch on, our long-term water supply plan recognizes the use of desal and recognizes its role, particularly in severe droughts. And I think we're moving forward consistent with that. I think we've been exploring, obviously talking about this for over 16 months now in regular discussions with the City Council. And I believe at this point we have exhausted all other options and are now standing in front of what we believe to be our last option to helping to meet the city's needs. The contract, it'll be in the next discussion, we'll be recommending a limited notice to proceed to basically keep the project elements moving, particularly the design effort that needs to be done, while the elements of the loan kind of trickle forward. We expect to get those in July. But this will keep us on schedule for fall of 2016, which is critical to meeting our need. We will return with a full award when that loan has been agreed to. And at this point, I'm going to turn over to Ms. Madeline Ward.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, my name is Madeline Ward. I'm the acting water conservation coordinator, and I will share a few slides with you in terms of our water conservation programs and outreach. To date, we've saved over 3,267 acre feet of water since the drought was declared. So that's from February 2014 to May of 2015. And that's compared to 2013 usage, which, to put in layman's terms, is over 1 billion gallons of water saved. I think we're all really impressed with what the community has been able to do in terms of reductions. The demand for our programs still remains very high. We have water checkups, rebates, information on our website, tools for people to use. A lot of do-it-yourselfers contact us and get the information they need to go out and make these changes in their landscape and their home, and we're really pleased with the community's response. I just wanted to focus on Graywater. We've had a lot of requests for Graywater information, and we have a lot of information available on our website. The laundry to landscape system that I'm portraying here on the screen, this is the simplest Graywater system, and it also does not require a permit. So this is generally what we recommend in terms of Graywater, and we have a lot of programs to support this. The city is a leader on Graywater policy here in California, and work that the city did with a consultant led directly to the state exempting this simple laundry to landscape system from a building permit in 2009. So I can just quickly go through this schematic. The basics of the laundry to landscape system is that it uses the washing machine pump to pump the discharge water out into the landscape. And the materials generally tend to be quite simple. It's really just a drip irrigation system once you get it outside. Some of the important things are to use a 3-way diverter valve. So you can choose if you want to send water out to the landscape or down to the sewer. If you're washing diapers or soiled items, you want those in the sewer. Or if you're using bleach, you don't want to send that out to the landscape either. And then it's simply released out into a mulch basin, so that's released under the surface so people or pets cannot have contact with the pooled water. So this Graywater system, the laundry to landscape, is part of our Smart Landscape rebate program. The materials are quite inexpensive. They're usually less than $400 because it's simply just a drip irrigation system for most of the components. We sponsor hands-on workshops for homeowners and for professional installers, and we've had over 20 workshops since 2009 on these Graywater installations. We also have a laundry to landscape Graywater DVD that's available at all of the libraries through the library system, and we have a sample plan that's available on our website. So anyone that's interested in Graywater, we really have the resources here to help people install these.
So in April, we brought this to the council's attention that there are 3 limited term staff that are included in this year's budget. We're just bringing this back just to make sure it's clear, particularly that this is going to be included in the staffing for this next year. And there are also 2 regular half-time water resources specialists that will be working at 3/4 time to help meet demand. And again, this continues to be a significant effort getting through this drought, and these staff have been absolutely critical to helping us respond to the community and be able to get back to them in a timely manner. And I think we're still maintaining responses to water checkups 2 weeks out. Good. So as part of the recommendation, the council approved extending the 3 water resources specialist positions that were authorized only through June 30th, 2015, and temporarily increase hours for 2 regular part-time water resources specialist positions through June 30th of 2016. So at this time, answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Any questions at this point? Mr. Hotchkiss.
On Graywater, soapy water is okay, but bleach water is not?
Madam Mayor, Councilmember Hotchkiss, the bleach water generally does not work well with the microorganisms in the soil or the roots, but for soapy water, some people still use their same laundry detergent and have not had a bad impact on their plants. But there are quite a few options of biocompatible laundry detergent, which is able to break down in the soil and not harm plants. So it really just depends on the user, but most people choose to go with biocompatible cleaners, which are available in a lot of the local grocery stores.
It says that on the box, biocompatible?
It says biocompatible, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a public comment speaker slip. Ms. Redmond. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. I'm Kara Redmond from Santa Barbara Channel Keeper. I'm here to share some exciting news. In January, Channel Keeper submitted a proposal for a Bren School Master's Group project that would help the city and other South Coast water districts develop sustainable water supply portfolios. And despite a very competitive process, we were selected. So we will have 6 Bren students advised by water guru Professor Bob Wilkinson, working for us over the next year to evaluate the costs and benefits, both economic and environmental, of a range of water supply and demand management alternatives available here, and to develop a methodology for South Coast water districts to design the optimal mix of sources and strategies to meet demand while minimizing environmental and economic costs. While it's probably too late to stop the desal train, we look forward to their results, and we hope that it'll be useful for you moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, back to the council. Is there any other comments? There's a recommendation to move forward. Mr. White? It's item B.
I move item B.
Okay. So moved and
Second.
seconded. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. All right. Item